That'll move us right on into Sleeper Spotlight.
Sleeper Spotlight.
Another fun one. I could
right.
scour the internet and find drummers that y'all are sleeping on.
Aaron Spears.
Yes. Nobody knows who that guy is. And then we'll get Adam's opinions, impressions, and any constructive criticism that he might have.
Well, yeah.
Cool. So this week, go ahead and start out with Has Drums, a little outside video for today.
Has Drums, the outside video. 16 seconds?
Yeah, pretty short. Pretty short.
Shorty from him. All right, here we go. Leopard skin. Cool. Man, that is a wild kit, first of all. That's a bold statement for a drum set. Man, that thing is I like drum sets that you can spot a mile away. I do like that. I think that's really cool. Do I want it? I don't think so. But it's a pretty kit. Also, I like your top right crash, that Evolution from Sabian, some of the highest quality cymbals that Sabian makes. I used to have those back in the day. Beautiful cymbal, man, for sure. So this clip, I'm going to watch it one more time before I say anything, actually. 16 seconds. Let's play it back one more time. The kit sounds good, too. It's pretty dialed in. Cool. So I think one thing, it's a piece of advice I've given to many people on this segment before, is that I can hear you reaching to the upper ends of your skill set, for sure. And a lot of times what I like to see is like a little bit more self-control, in that if your playing can go to a 10, like choose to make it a 7 sometimes, because the ideas will land a little bit cleaner. So I can hear that you're reaching for some of those ideas. But with that said, what I can hear in this clip is very good. Your 6-stroke roll is super, super clean. Overall, man, I think your technique is really, really good. This sounds very clean, and I hear a good amount of power in your playing, where you're not light-handed. You're naturally a little bit heavier-handed, and I personally like that quality in pretty much all drummers for the most part. I like when people play through the kit. I also think kits sound better when you play that way, unless they're like tuned to be played lightly, like kind of a jazz kit with higher tunings and very high resonance. I think a lot of times when you have a more modern drum set, they just sound good when you lay into them, and you're playing with a lot of power, so I like that. Let's do the next clip from him. This is the red kit?
Yeah. Inside.
Okay, let's do that one. Cool, tricky. Super clean, man. Real tight playing. Cool, that was awesome. Yeah, very trapped out, very clean. I love when people take like hip hop drumming and make it sort of a part of their style, because hip hop, I mean, I suppose you could find all these weird crossovers where acoustic drummers did play huge roles in what hip hop drumming is. But also, if you're going modern hip hop, like trap music, there's so many elements of that style of music that are not like natural for a human to play. So it takes a lot of like reverse engineering about like, wait a minute, what was that weird robotic subdivision change that sort of happened? And it's making its way from like the electronic drumming world. It's making its way into people's playing. And so I hear some ideas that definitely wouldn't have been popular like 20 or 30 years ago. And I like that. I think that's really cool. I also hear that your kit sound matches like what your playing style is, in that your kit is very tight and articulate and modern, and your playing ideas are very tight and articulate and modern. And I think that is a really, really cool thing that you have going on, that the sound of your hats, the sound of your snare, the sound of your bass drum, using that stack to sort of embellish some of those little trap elements, combined with what you're playing, I think all of that fits together really well. So I see a very cohesive sound and style that is very like it just in that modern, trappy hip hop sort of realm. So cool. It's really cool, man. I like it a lot. I also like your shallow little floor tom here. I think that's cool. I like shallow floor toms a lot, a little punchy. But yeah, man, that was a good one. Very cool.
Cool. That was Has Drums.
Has Drums. Check them out.
Has_drums on Instagram. Okay. Cool. Next up is Team DeMaio. Hope I'm not butchering that last word.
Okay.
Got one video from him. Choose the one with the little rolling pad thing in the
Rolling
video.
pad. Here we go. I hear see Latin Pro on the SPD. I hear it coming. Weird. He's got a lot of effects happening. Man, what would you call that style of groove?
It
Latin train
seemed
of doom?
Latin-ish, real constant, real kind of drivey, and then he's
Yeah.
got like this massive amount of reverb on the whole track. That's
Yeah.
just kind of spacey and weird.
Yeah, it was like Latin experimental house or something like that, right? Like,
Yeah, almost like a deep house kind of music.
yeah,
where
deep house Latin maybe. That was interesting. I got really caught up in just the style of what he
Yeah.
was playing, trying to be like, it's hard to pin down what exactly is happening, but I also think that's really cool. I like that a lot.
yeah, real tricky.
Very tricky. Had a lot of good independence in there for sure. There was a few moments where he really dug into the eighth notes on the hi-hat. Or I don't know that they were eighth notes. I'd have to listen back and count, but he chose to embellish and pull out certain elements. It's one of those things where, like, if there's multiple elements inside of a groove happening, you know, one trick that you can do to like paint a different picture with your groove is to consciously bring up the volume of one of those elements or one of those textures inside of the groove. And I saw him do that a couple times, which is definitely a higher level way to think about how you present a groove or, you know, paint this musical picture. So that was really, really cool. Tough for me to say anything about like technique or anything like that, or even kit sound, right? Because this was so, such like an art piece was this clip. It looks like it's a sonar from the lugs on.
Yeah, I can't tell.
It looks like a sonar, but I'm not 100% sure. Interesting, though. Also, it's funny, we were talking about lighting earlier, and I kind of like this purplish blue glow vibe that he has going on. It's a good example of how you can kind of brand your videos and get a little bit of a look happening with some lights there. Interesting. So let's go to the next clip from him. Cool. Yeah, I like how he's a bit more of like a storyteller of a groover, because I heard some elements of the groove doon doon got ding ding got doon got right, where he would do the bell, like those two hits, and then the next measure he would like shoulder the ride cymbal with that little big fat snare drum ish assembly thing that's hanging off of it, right? And so those ideas take a little bit of patience to execute, right? Like you have to think about every other bar I'm going to do this, and then every other bar I'm going to do this. And spacing out your ideas like that is a very storyteller-ish way to approach grooving. And I like that because it shows me that he plays with a lot of intention, right? Like he is thinking about what he plays well beyond just the note that he's on, right? It's not just like a artist living in the moment, this is my expression. Like there's a little bit more of like a tactical approach to it, because you have to have that if you're going to play a groove that takes 2 measures or 4 measures to resolve itself. And this is something that's actually a little bit harder for me to do, is to be very intentional about what I'm playing now, because I know I'm going to contrast it with something a little later in the story, a little later in the music. So I really liked that. I also think his setup is really cool. He seems very into not only recording, but also like this presenting like a complex musical sound. I can hear his drums are mixed in some interesting ways, and I'd love to hear him use that SPDX a lot more. But overall, really cool, man. Interesting stuff. I imagine he's got a lot of videos that are all very different.
Yeah.
Something along those lines?
Yeah, and I tried to find kind of a good range of things, but
yeah, those videos weren't too similar. Yeah,
very different drummer too to have on. Typically, we have guys that shred, like crazy. But I thought somebody more consistent was also worth showing.
Sure, absolutely. Also, these guys tend to make a little more money than people who chop out all the time.
Yes.
So there's that too.
Yes.
This is the guy you hire, by the way. Yeah, man, really cool. I'd love to check out some more of his videos and see everything he's got going on. But awesome ones today, man. Very cool. Thanks so much for watching this clip from the Orlando Drummer Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're looking for more content like this, ranging from in-depth masterclasses on audio and video, all the way to detailed lesson packs on rudiments and grooves and fills, I've got all of that waiting for you and a lot more at the link in the description. Check out orlandodrummer.com. It is my online drum school, and I would absolutely love to have you on board. Free 7-day trial at that link. Check it out.